What is up guys, Andy Forest Team Runner here and welcome back to another video. Today we're talking all about this shoe, the Saucony ENDORPHIN SPEED 2 Run Shield after 100 miles. So welcome back to another video. Excited to give you guys another long-term shoe review update. We've hit 100 miles in this Speed 2 Run Shield. I'm going to be going through with you, as I always do in these 100 mile plus videos, the wear and tear, how it's been holding up and how I've been using it. Will I continue to use it moving forwards? We're going to cover all of that today, starting with the wear and tear. Yeah, mixed thoughts on this one. Stay tuned to find out more. If you're excited for today, guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and we'll start with the wear and tear. In terms of wear and tear at this 100 mile point, well actually technically 115 miles. I hit 100 miles or just over the weekend. Running a long run, 17.25 miles ish. I think that tipped us up to something like 104 miles, but then I've used it again on today's Monday moderate. So it is well up and over the 100 mile mark, so 115, and it's holding up really, really well, as you would hope when you spend the sort of money that you do on a shoe like this. The quality of it though is absolutely fantastic. Upper is in fantastic condition. Great upper, absolutely love it. We're going to talk more about that sort of thing shortly and how I've been using it, but the upper, the midsole and the outsole, they're just showing no signs of wear and tear. Let me just run down this outsole for you so you can see, and especially just looking at this mid portion here, I've got to say that this section in the Speed for me started to wear down, sort of like in and around the 200 mile mark. I could start to see some kind of degradation happening on that outsole rubber, but this is holding strong at the moment. I know we're half the distance, but I do notice a difference in the grip with this shoe as well. Feel a lot more comfortable in wet conditions. We'll talk about today's run because I kind of feel like today was the ideal prime conditions for this sort of shoe. But in terms of wear and tear, gotta say, after 115 miles, big thumbs up, holding up nicely. So how have I been using this shoe? Well, this section is a real testament to this shoe. I did say I'm feeling a little bit of mixed emotions towards this, which we'll cover very shortly. But in terms of how I've been using it, in terms of a lot of shoes, I might come to this section and say I've used it for this and this type of run, but I wouldn't use it for anything else. This has had a good range of pretty much everything, from easy runs right the way through to long runs, speed work, shorter intervals, longer intervals. The first 100 miles, this thing has covered everything, and that is just, again, a big thumbs up for the versatility of the Speed shoe. I think for me it's just one of the best shoes that you can get that's an all-rounder. You pay a big price, you pay a premium price for this sort of shoe, but I have to say overall it's delivered on all bases. For me, it was one of those shoes coming back from a calf injury. I felt quite good and stable. I think the nylon plate in this just gave it enough stability not to rock my ankle and worry my calf too much. It was a shoe that I did sort of tinker with in the first walk run week back from injury, and it was really, really solid, so I used it again the week after. Prior to that, of course, long runs, speed workouts, shorter, sharper intervals, longer intervals, tempo work. Some of the workouts I was doing tail end of last year in my speed block, something like 30 minutes, 45 minutes warm up, and then like 6 by 5 minutes tempo or 5 by 6 minutes tempo, hitting goal half marathon pace in this. It can do absolutely everything. And then again on the weekend just gone, a nice 2-hour long run, 17.25 miles covered, and this morning 70-minute moderate run. So this has massive versatility. So in terms of how I've been using it, it's had a good range, it's had a good coverage, and yeah, it's ticking every single box. So this leads me on to the section. Now this section might be a little bit long, so I do apologise. Buckle up, get ready. Will I continue to use this shoe moving forwards? Well, yes, I'm going to continue to use it, but I do have mixed feelings, and I want to cover this as best as possible because I don't know if this is my issue or if this is the shoe issue. So in my previous speed, I was talking a lot on my reviews about how great it was, and for a speed shoe like this where I'm paying a decent price, I'm hoping to get at least 300 miles out of it, if not more. Daily trainers like the Nova Blast and Pegasus and 1080 version 10s, 11s, 12s, whatever are on now, you're kind of hoping that you're going to get a decent 4, 5, 6, maybe even 700 miles out of them. They're the workhorse, they're going to be soaking up a lot of miles, and they're built to last. So for speed shoes, I kind of don't quite have that high expectation of mileage. I have what I would class as a reasonable expectation. If I get 300 miles out of a speed shoe, what was it, 350 something out of the Brooks Hyperion Tempo, 350 something out of my original speeds, I'm happy with that. That's a big thumbs up in my book. However, this one feels different. This one feels different to my original speeds. This one feels very flat already. Now, I remember in my previous speed videos when I did some 200, 250, 300 mile long-term update reviews on it, a lot of you guys agreed. You said you got around that mileage and then it just started to feel like it just started to lose a little bit of its pop, a little bit of its edge, and that was the time that you guys were considering retiring it and when I retired mine. But there was a handful of you, a select few of you, which I now feel I'm in your club, where you said it was pretty flat after 50 to 100 miles and it really wasn't the shoe that you were hoping for it to be. And I've got to be honest with you, that's exactly how I'm feeling with this shoe. Now, I know this is the winterized version, this is splash proof, it's not, you know, full on waterproof Gore-Tex, but it is splash proof. And this morning, on my run this morning, it's been raining a lot here in the UK over the last couple of days. This morning there were puddles everywhere. And my feet stay dry and warm, and that's where I feel this thing shines. So the upper is obviously different, but it's a lighter shoe than the original version. It's a lighter shoe than the normal V2. If you stood them side by side, this is a bit lighter, which is crazy. The midsole's exactly the same, and the rubber outsole has got slightly more grip on it, which again, big positive. I feel a lot more confident, like I did this morning, cornering in wet conditions on wet pavement, something that I'm not too comfortable with doing in the original speeds or even the Endorphin Pros. But I have to say, it just doesn't have that bounce that the original version had. It just feels flatter. I feel like I'm working harder in this shoe than I should be. Now, there are a couple of things going on here. I'm coming back from injury, so I'm lacking in fitness. But number two, I can't tell, and this is something that I'm going to be addressing with my physio over the next couple of weeks because I have an appointment not next week, but the week after, whether I'm running slightly differently after my calf issue. I can't tell if I'm slapping the ground with my feet more. I'm a little bit less nimble and a little bit more kind of cumbersome, a little bit more just kind of bumbling along rather than being a bit lighter on my feet. I know I'm a tall bloke. I know I'm a bit heavier than a lot of you guys. 6'6", around, I'd love to say I'm around 86, 87 kilos. I'm probably around 88, 89, maybe even 90 at the moment, but you get the idea. I'm not the lightest runner, so I do put a lot of pressure through these shoes, but it just feels flatter than the other version. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I still feel like it's a massive thumbs up in terms of versatility. I'd still shout about this shoe from the rooftops, and I still feel like this is one of the best shoes that you can have in your rotation. And I don't think it's a difference between the winterized version or the normal version, but I've just felt over the last 50 miles of this shoe very meh. Just very kind of average. I've not been particularly inspired to pick this thing up, and the only reason that I've been putting more miles in it is really at the moment my shoe rotation is depleting fast, and I'm waiting for all these new releases to come out in 2022. I'm looking for a new daily trainer like the Asics Nimbus 24 or the Nimbus Lite 3, looking for something like that to come out, the 1080 version 12 for New Balance, the Mach 5 or the Mach 4 Supersonic. I'm just looking for those shoes to come out, and the Puma Velocity Nitro 2. I gather a lot of these are coming in March onwards, so I'm just kind of like stringing out what I have at the moment, and I feel like if I had another shoe in my rotation that was light and nimble and great for moderate runs, I'd be picking it over this. I just don't know what's going on. So when I see my physio, I'm going to hopefully be addressing if there is any kind of issues with form and things as I've been coming back from the calf injury, which is very possibly there is. Hopefully that might change things. It still feels as springy and bouncy. It still is as comfortable as always, but it's just not giving me the responsiveness that the original Speeds do. So that's kind of where I'm at with this shoe. I'm going to continue putting mileage in it, but I'm just not very inspired to put mileage in it, and I don't really know what's going on other than for me to tell you it just feels flat. I'd like to think it's not me that's doing it, because I'm going out in other shoes like the Nova Blast and then the Streak Fly and the Alpha Fly, and I feel up on my toes and bouncy, and I feel great form. I feel all of this, so I don't know. I really don't know. Answers down below in the comments. So there we go. Those are my thoughts on the Saucony ENDORPHIN SPEED 2 RUNSHIELD. It's a bit of a mystery. I don't know what's going on with it. Great shoe. I still would recommend the Speeds, but I just don't know if my particular pair is gone flat or what's going on with it. We'll keep persevering. We'll see if we can get to 200 miles in it. And at that point, if it's still feeling the same, I might just sideline those shoes and move on to some others. But as I mentioned earlier, still waiting for some more shoes to come out. I'd love to see some new releases coming. I know there's been delays in factories and manufacturing due to COVID. So I know that a lot of these shoes and manufacturers are pushing dates of releases back, so I'm just kind of sitting tight at the moment. But if you guys have any recommendations at the moment of new issues that have come out or ones on the horizon that are coming in March or April, do let me know. As I said, I'm looking at the Asics Nimbus 24 or the Nimbus Lite 3. That's already out in the States and other places, just not in the UK. Looking for the Mach 4 Supersonic or the Mach 5 whenever that's coming out. Looking at the Puma Velocity Nitro 2, anything from New Balance, really just anything like that. So if you've got any recommendations, make sure you leave them in the comments below, because I'm really chomping at the bit to be trying some more shoes out this year. Anyway, that aside, that's it from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the update of this shoe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Have you got the Speed 2s to a certain mileage and they've just gone? I'd love to hear what you think. That's it for today, though. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Until then.